story about your journey from when you were young to where you are now, and I find it really inspiring. So I'll ask about that. Like, I feel those people that haven't really heard your story deserve to hear it because it's really inspiring. So we can start from there.
Yeah, I'm the only child to a pastor. That's Bishop Mwanamuke. He pastors a church. It's a growing church, still in its young stages. I gave my life to God when I was 12 years old. I had massive asthma attacks. Okay, and one night I thought that, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm going to die because like I could literally not breathe, and I thought this is the end. I remember that night there was a Kirk Franklin song playing in the background, and it was saying, my life is in your hands. You know, it constantly just reminded me that you need to put your hands in, you need to put your life in the hands of the Lord. And, you know, because of the fear of death and what I was going through as a young person, being laughed at in class because I was the only pupil that could not read, you know, I was the shortest in class then, you know, so I used to be bullied a lot, and there was just so much going on around me that made me feel like I needed a greater power, that I needed help from somewhere else to be happy. I was quite a sad kid, you know, and while that song was playing, I just said, you know what, God, I give my life to you. Come into my heart and heal me completely. Make my life happy. You know, even if I was really young, I meant the words. And guess what? Immediately after that, my life started to turn around. I started focusing more on school. I started putting my priorities right and doing the right things. And from then on, I've never looked back.
Wow. Wow, that's really inspiring. So, your book, Born to Win, where you get to share most of your journey, what was the inspiration behind it? Because, you know, most people don't usually get to talk about their weakest points in life. They would rather keep it to themselves. But you decided to write a book about it. What was the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, so what had happened is I went for a radio interview. And then in that interview, somebody was aware of what I had been through. And so they asked me about it. And it was the first time I ever opened up about it, like after the incidents happened, like for, I think it was 3 years back. Yeah. And then I opened up about it. And like the room was so quiet, like everyone was like, oh my gosh, we did not know you've been through this stuff. You know, people started opening up about how my testimony changed their lives there and then, you know, like we all just had that intimate, chill and real talk. And then in my mind, I was like, wow, for me, it now seems normal because I went through this stuff. But to other people, it's like, what? Yellow Dove, you went through this? You know, so I decided, okay, you know what? Let me put it in a book and maybe inspire somebody out there. So I decided to, you know, compile my life, you know, how I once almost drowned in the Zambezi River and God literally saved my life. You know, how I couldn't read and write and I learned that at a later stage, you know, how I was once mentally ill and God in Olympia. Just strapped from Unza to his studio, recorded the song, The Days of Willie Jinx. I don't know if maybe you're too young for them. It's funny. And they have no idea that you were sick. And, you know, the whole thing happened like over a span of a year, you know. Mm-hmm. So that year I lost my scholarship at the University of Zambia. I lost friends. There were friends who were telling me, no, we can't even work with you anymore. We can't jive with you. We don't like how you behave. Instead of spending time to pray for me, spending time to get to know what is really going on in my life. Yeah, so it was a difficult period for me. Yeah, it was a difficult period, and I really thank God that I'm now okay. You know, a year without purpose, a year of depression, a year of loss, and a year of redefining myself. So like that whole year, I was trying to get my mind correct, tried all sorts of medicine but couldn't work until God, officially stepped in and just healed me. I wake up one morning, I can remember who I am, I can remember where I am, I can remember, what has to be done, and I can even remember everything that happened during that year. And yeah, it was God. And then after that, now I went through a depression, because now you realize what you've done, the people you've hurt, what you've lost. So a year of being sick and a year of battling with depression. So that's what kept me away from music. And yeah, immediately
So
after that, yeah, I lost like 2 years of my life. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then you hit rock bottom in such a way that it's either you commit suicide or you try to get some strength and work things out. And for me, it was so bad. Like, I was in the house the whole year. Nabana sweater, no sweater. Like, kids are like, this guy is become light, because the whole year you're in the house. You're not, when you go out, life doesn't make sense, And now I understand, like, why people commit suicide. Because, like, you get to a place where, like, you have nothing to wake up to. You have nothing to smile about. You don't know how your tomorrow will be, And yeah, so it was really rough for me. And I reached a place where I was like, okay, God, you know what? Then just take my life, because like everything that I was, everything that defined me is no more, So then just take my life, But God, through Joe Austin's preaching, I came across a scripture that says, forget the former things, do not dwell in the past. Behold, I'm doing a new thing. I'm making a way in the desert.
That what inspired Nadobi Dobi.
Yeah, that's what gave birth. Yeah. Okay. It's true story.
I know.
Yeah, so
because there's a part that says, I forget the former things and not dwell in the past.
Dwell in the past. When trouble comes my way, I'm like, this too shall pass. 1,000 may fall, shall never come doozy. I count it all joy.
That's a powerful song.
Appreciate it. That song is hype, it's danceable, but like it was birthed out of pain.
Wow.
It was at that very period, because for that 2 years, I didn't want to go to the studio. I didn't want church, because church people judged me. Some of these people that judged me are there in the industry right now. I just don't want to mention names. Church people judged me.
Wow.
They looked down on me. They sent me messages. We don't want to ever work with you. But they never took time to pray for me. They never took time to sit down and say what is really wrong. For them, they just concluded he's on drugs. He's doing weed. Your friend is losing their mind and they need you the most. So I hated church. I hated music. So I had to get to a place where I could forgive people. I had to get to a place where I could let go of the hurt, what I had been through, and just trust the process and trust God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really powerful. So, you came into the music scene with rap, like you mentioned, at a time where gospel music wasn't, there was no rap in, like people weren't rapping gospel. It was all, they were all singing. There was no rap and everything. What inspired you to get into gospel rap?
Well, the first reason is because the ordinary gospel music failed for me. Like I once joined the choir and everything. It didn't work out. Like Nazoemba Chile, you know what I mean? But like from the beginning, from the beginning I loved music. Like I've always loved music. Remember, one of the reasons why I gave my life to God was because of a song. Kirk Franklin played a very big role in my life. His ministry and music sort of prompted me to say I need to give my life to God. So like I loved music. So it was either producing or writing or just anything to do with music I wanted to be in. And so I fell in love with poetry. I was like 13 years old. I fell in love with poetry, and it led me to want to start rapping. So what happened was we had a game in 1999 going into 2000. We had a scripture game at school. I was at Arkan High. So what would happen was you say a scripture verse and I'll say a verse from the Bible also. So like you go back and forth. The person who runs out of scriptures loses the game, So yeah. And when you lose the game, you get to buy the other person lunch, So like it was a cool game that we used to play among my peers. And then what happened was on a Monday we were playing with a friend of mine, Timothy Mumba, still around by the way. And yeah, so he says a scripture, I say a scripture, he says a scripture. So my scriptures ran out, okay? The only scripture I remembered was the one I memorized at home through a rap verse. Like I'd memorized it in a rap. That's just playfully, So I said it to him in a rapping way, like, Christ did not sin, shan, 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 you know what I mean? Made rhythm. And then, like, he was so shocked. He was like, my God, you can really rap. Like, how do you turn a scripture to a rap and it sounds so good? So I was like, yeah, I can really rap. So I started, cultivating into that. Like, I love music. I joined the choir, Wanancho Sama and Chireya. So maybe I could get the rapping thing. Yeah. Yeah, like it's funny now, but like when you are 13 years old, it's like the choir master sits you down, like, no man, like the choir members are complaining, like, we know your dad is a pastor, but like you can't sing, and I'm saying like, yeah, so yeah, I'm a choir dropout, people, choir dropout. So then I got into rapping. And yeah, so the choir would sing their thing, and then I go there with a short rap verse. So I made the choir look cool. And wow, that's how it started in 1999 to 2000.
Okay, so before we continue, I'm going to read a few comments from people that are joining us. This one is from Dennis, a brother. Says equally survived by that scripture.
Wow.
The one you mentioned, for the one that's in Adobe.
Isaiah 43 verse 18.
Oh yeah. Then there's a dope version says, Yellow Dove, my favorite gospel rapper, he feels like rapping every time.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so those are some of the few comments that have come through. And one thing I pick from you is you usually share your testimonies or your story through your songs.
Yeah.
So the other song that got my attention was Mposheni, the one you did with Carol.
Yeah.
So is it also based on a real life story, or you were just trying to be creative?
Well, the wedding part, no, like I've never been married before or almost married or whatever. Yeah. But if you've lived long enough, at one point you'll be hurt by a lady or by a man. Like that's just life. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
We've never been hurt before. You will be hurt. That's the way it's designed. Just get your heart ready. Yeah. But if you've never and you're married, then God really loves you. Like, yeah, He really loves you.
Yeah, blessed. Your favorite.
Only if you go through that. But yeah, so I noticed there are very few songs out there that are gospel that will get you through a heartbreak. Usually our songs are Ndemilumbanya, Mwali wa Mayawe, things like that. So I wanted to do a song that can get you through a heartbreak because, like, obviously I've been hurt before. A lot of my friends around me have been hurt before, so that's what Mposheni is about. Like, it's not even about getting hurt when it comes to relationships.
Every other career, why did you choose media?
I've always loved media, like ever since I was young. And it was a problem because, like, in class, you know what you need to pass for you to study what you want to study. So, like, things like mathematics, geography, I was just like, for what? Like, come on, guys, you know. So I just used to study things that I know this is like I want to do mass communication. So I'll be on my literature, on my English, on my history. So like those subjects, like I've got ones in them, like English one, literature one, history one, you know. But like if you go to the other side, I'm like, sucks, you know, like why am I studying this stuff? Yeah. So I've always known what I wanted to be from a young age. And I remember when I was 12 years old, I remember saying a prayer to God. I was like, Lord, help me discover my purpose. And Lord, I pray that one day my work and the paper that I'll get from school will make me glorify you through my. I remember my lecturer, Mr. Nkandi from university. So when you give your tithe and things are not happening, it's okay to go back to God and say, but God, you said I should test you. This is not working out. I need you to open the gates of heaven. Because I feel like as believers, we're too relaxed and we're just following what we've always been taught. We don't have a relationship with God. We're taking God like, you know, is a door bouncer, and anything you say, you will not let you in into heaven, you know. But like God is a father, you know. If he was that nice to a prodigal son, what about you who never went away? You are for Asian, you know what I mean? And you attract them, and eventually, you know. Funny story is the song was written a week after we dropped Nalikwanda. That's last year.
Last year, that's Nalikwanda. Wow.
Just after we dropped Nalikwanda.
What took you so long to release it?
I didn't like it. It was just a skeleton. I just didn't, you know, like where you're like, okay, it's a cool thing, but then you're just like, nah. So we even started working on other things, other collabos, you know, like just forgot about it. Yeah, and then Easy like kept calling me, like, you need to finish that song. It's nice. I reached a point where like I just couldn't even finish it. Like I'm on verse 2 and then I'm just like, it's okay, let's work on other songs. So they're actually songs that we did before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before that. But like, I guess life took us to a place. Life took us to a place where I felt like people needed to ask God to bless us. Like as a country, work. It's the same principle with books, because you know I thank God shouts at you. Favorite Bible character?
And
Jezebel.
why?
Jezebel.
Why? I think you're the first person to ever pick Jezebel. Why?
Yeah. It was like I thought I wouldn't like it because like you just took 5 minutes. Like yeah, that's how it is in life. When you're helping other people, it's easier. You know what I mean? Yeah. So people should expect a lot.
Okay, we'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And then media-wise, any new TV shows you are planning on launching, or maybe we should expect something new in Gospel Cruise? Anything?
Yeah, we're revamping Gospel Cruise right now. We're restructuring the show, yeah, right now as we speak. We got a bit bored. So like we're trying to change a few things, make it more exciting.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to have my phone charged while we talk. I'm heading to my bedroom, sorry.
Okay. We're actually almost done though. We're actually almost done. Yeah.
Okay.
We're almost done. So what are some of your achievements so far in the industry? Music industry.
Music wise?
Mm-hmm.
I think music wise for me, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. I think for me, music wise, what I can point at and say, okay, this has been dope, was like after Cry from Hell. If people out there have not seen the video or listened to the song, please go and listen to it, go and watch it. Like, things changed after I did that song, you know. Pastor started calling me and treating me like I'm one of them.
So sorry, we have to go. Instagram has just sent me a time and it's saying we have like, is it 19 seconds to go?
Yeah, we talk too much.
Yeah, thank you.